shame for y'all.
Alright, what's going on, y'all? Uh, so, y'all are hearing my voice right now through a separate audio recording because I made a rookie mistake on the video. I recorded this whole hour and 12-minute long episode for you guys because I said, from this episode going forward, there will be video podcasts, episodes for the ones who requested that they come out on YouTube. So I was gonna go and get that done for y'all. I got this, my mic set up properly, a background that I liked, my camera set up to the way I like it, and new headphones. Also, we can get the ground running with the video podcast. But I did not apparently turn on my mic, so I'm gonna give y'all the visual representation. So this may be a very sloppy video. I want to sincerely apologize in advance to my fans. This is not, trust me, I put in a lot of work here, and I don't know how I made this mistake, especially going a whole hour long and not, noticing that it happened. So the episode was supposed to be a top 10 UFC men's pound for pound fighters of 2023. But I'm not gonna go into deep detail with how I did with the previous video. I'm gonna just give y'all my 10 and get this out to y'all as soon as I can, cause I messed up so bad. I'm really beating myself up about this, but I'm gonna just probably give you like a sample size of what the video was. So, and hopefully, if I can edit this properly, I will give y'all a picture representation of who I'm talking about as I'm going through this list. But at number 10, I had Dustin Poirier. Was a record of 29-7, which means he's won 80% of his fights. Nickname is the Diamond. Southpaw stance. From the lightweight division, 15 KOs, 6 submission wins, and 13 first round wins. And his most notable wins come from beating Conor McGregor twice, Max Holloway twice, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis, and Eddie Alvarez. At number 9, I had Charles Oliveira, who has a record of 34-9, which means he's won 70% of his fights. From the lightweight division, has 10 KOs and 21 submission wins. Nickname is Du Bronx. Stance is orthodox. He's the current UFC #1 contender in the lightweight division. Was the former UFC lightweight heavyweight champion. Lightweight champion one time. One successful title defense. His most notable wins come from Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, and Clay Guida. At number 8, I had Jamal Hill, who's 12-1 right now with a win percentage of 92%. He's from the light heavyweight division. Nickname is Sweet Dreams. Stance is southpaw. Current lightweight champion. Current 4-fight win streak with 7 KOs and 4 first-round wins. And his most notable wins come from Thiago Santos, Johnny Walker, Jimmy Crute, Darko Stosic, and Alexander Popik. Coming in at number 7, I have Kamaru Usman, who's currently has a record of 20-3, which means he has a 87% win percentage from the welterweight division. Has 9 KOs, 1 submission win, and 3 first round wins. Nickname is the Nigerian Nightmare. Is the current #1 contender in the welterweight division. Is a former UFC welterweight champion, which he won one time. Has the 3rd most title fight wins in UFC welterweight division history with 6, and the latest knockout in UFC title fight history against Kobe Covington in 2021. His most notable wins comes from Kobe Covington, which he beat twice, Jorge Masvidal, which he also beat twice, Tyron Woodley, Gilbert Burns, and he actually beat Leon Edwards once in 2015, but lost to him in both of their fights since then. Coming in at number 6, I have Aljamain Sterling, 23-3 record with a 88% of those being wins. From the bantamweight division, his nickname is Funk Master. Has a current 9-fight win streak, 3 KOs, 8 submission wins. Is the current UFC bantamweight champion, which he's had one reign of that. 3 successful title defenses. Has an orthodox stance. Has the most wins in UFC bantamweight division history with 14. The longest win streak in UFC bantamweight division history with 9. The most consecutive title defenses in UFC bantamweight division history with 3. Tied for the second most title fight wins in UFC bantamweight division history with 4. Longest total fight time in UFC bantamweight division history with 3 hours, 49 minutes, and 49 seconds. Most controlled time in UFC bantamweight division history with 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 36 seconds. Most total strikes landed in UFC bantamweight division history with 1,646. Most notable wins come from Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw. And most recently just beat Henry Cejudo by a decision in round 5 of UFC 288 on May 6th. Coming in at number 5, I have Alexander Volkanovski, who currently has a record of 25-2 with a 92% win percentage. From the featherweight division, his nickname is The Great. 12 knockouts, 3 submission wins, and 7 first-round wins. Has an orthodox stance. Is the current UFC featherweight champion. Tied for the second longest win streak in UFC featherweight division history with 10. Tied with Max Holloway for the second most title fight wins in UFC featherweight division history with 5. Highest striking differential in UFC featherweight division history with 3.12. The longest average fight time in UFC featherweight division history with 18 minutes. Has the most and second most leg kicks landed in a UFC fight in featherweight division history. Has the most, second most, and third most total leg strikes landed in a fight in UFC featherweight division history. And his most notable wins comes from Max Holloway, which he beat 3 times, Jose Aldo, and most recently just lost to Islam Makhachev on February 11th in a title super fight. Coming in at number 4, I have Leon Edwards, who has a record of 21-3 and a win percentage of 88%. Has 7 KOs, 3 submission wins, and 51 first-round wins. He's from the welterweight division. His nickname is Rocky. His stance is southpaw. Is the current UFC welterweight champion. 1 successful title defense. 6th fastest finish in UFC history with 8 seconds. Tied for the second longest unbeaten streak in UFC welterweight division history with 12. And has the ESPN 2022 Knockout of the Year versus Kamaru Usman in 2022. His most notable wins come from Kamaru Usman, which he beat twice, Nate Diaz, the Cowboy Donald Cerrone, Gunnar Nelson, and Rafael Dos Anjos. Coming in at number 3, I have Israel Adesanya, coming in at a record of 24-2 and a win percentage of 92%. In the middleweight division, has 16 knockouts, 6 first-round wins. Nickname is The Last Style Bender. Has a southpaw stance, even though he switches up his stances very frequently in his matches. And is the current UFC middleweight champion, which he's been twice. Has 5 successful title defenses. Was the interim UFC middleweight champion once. Has the most knockdowns in a UFC title fight with 4. Second most title fight wins in UFC middleweight division history with 8. Tied with Anderson Silva for most knockdowns in UFC middleweight division history with 13. Second longest winning streak in UFC middleweight division history with 12. The longest average fight time in UFC middleweight division history with 17 minutes and 19 seconds. The second most significant strikes landed in UFC middleweight division history with 976. And his most notable wins come from Alex Pereira, who he split, the series with, him winning 1 and losing 1. Jared Cannonier, Robert Whitaker, who he beat twice, Paulo Costa, Kevin Gastelum, Anderson Silva, and Derek Brunson. Coming in at number 2, I have Islam Makhachev, who currently has a record of 24-1, In 25 of his fights, he's only lost one, winning 24 of them, which gives him a 96% win percentage. He's from the lightweight division, does not have a nickname, uses his government first name as his nickname, has a current 12-fight win streak, 4 knockouts, and 11 submission wins. Stance is southpaw, and is the current UFC lightweight champion. Has one successful title defense, has the least significant strikes absorbed per minute in UFC lightweight division history with 1.24, tied with Charles Oliveira for third longest win streak in UFC lightweight division history with 11. And his most notable wins come from Alexander Volkanovski, who he beat on February 11th, Charles Oliveira, and those ones that stuck out to me. Coming in at number 1, I have Johnny Bones Jones, John Jones, who currently has a record of 27-1, which means in 28 of his fights, he's only lost 1 and won 27 of them, giving him a win percentage of 96%. His stance is orthodox, has 10 knockouts, 7 submissions, 7 submission wins. Nickname is Bones, like I just said, is the current UFC heavyweight champion, which he's been once, the youngest champion in UFC history at the age of 23, was the UFC lightweight heavyweight champion, with the UFC light heavyweight champion twice in his career, and has 11 successful title defenses overall. His most notable wins come from Cyril Gane, Anthony Smith, Alexander Gustafsson twice, Daniel Cormier, which he won one of them, and the other being a no contest. I mean, arguably the greatest of all time in my eyes is the GOAT. To sharpen up on his resume, he has 11 successful title defenses, like I said, overall, with 8 successful title defenses in his first reign, and 3 of them being successful in his second reign. Was once the interim UFC light heavyweight champion. Was the longest light heavyweight champion reign in UFC history with 1,501 days. Most successful title defenses in UFC light heavyweight division history with 11. Tied with Demetrius Johnson for most successful title defenses in UFC history with 11. Most consecutive title defenses in the UFC light heavyweight division history with 8. Fourth most consecutive title defenses in UFC history with 8. Most wins in UFC title fights with 15. Tied Demetrius Johnson for most submissions in UFC title fights with 4. Most wins in UFC light heavyweight title fights with 14. Tied Demetrius Johnson for third most finishes in UFC title fights with 7. Most UFC light heavyweight title fights with 15. 8th multi-divisional champion in UFC history. Longest unbeaten streak in UFC history with 19. Most consecutive wins in UFC light heavyweight division history with 13. Most wins in UFC light heavyweight division history with 20. Most decision wins in UFC light heavyweight division history with 10. Longest total fight time in UFC light heavyweight division history with 5 hours, 40 minutes, and 15 seconds. Most significant strikes landed in UFC light heavyweight division history with 1,463. Most total strikes landed in UFC light heavyweight division history with 1,835. Highest takedown defense percentage in UFC light heavyweight division history with 95%. Tied with Dustin Poirier, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Neil Magny for 6th most wins in UFC history with 21. Third most finishes in UFC light heavyweight division history with 10. Tied with Ovin St. Preux and Misha Serkinov for third most submissions in UFC light heavyweight division history with 5. Tied with Mauricio Rua and Ovin St. Preux for third most post-fight bonuses in UFC light heavyweight division history with 8. Second longest average fight time in UFC light heavyweight division history with 15 minutes and 28 seconds. Fourth most takedowns landed in UFC light heavyweight division history with 42. Fight night 4 times versus Quentin Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Alexander Gustafsson, and Daniel Cormier. Knockout of the night 1 time versus Brandon Vera. Submission of the night 2 times versus Ryan Bader and Vitor Belfort. Performance of the night 2 times versus Daniel Cormier and Cyril Gane. UFC Hall of Fame fight win versus Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 165. Now, this is not by far. I went into depth with every guy named on this list, and this is just only a shell of what I put into this. I am truly sorry for the inconvenience that comes within this sloppy episode. I was really excited for this episode and put in a lot of work into it, and just something as simple as me not turning on this mic for the first portion of that video now has made this a completely sloppy video, but I will make sure that this is a vital part of me checking this out going forward, and this will not happen again, I promise. But be sure, if you've missed it, to go check out all the other episodes. I have 3 more episodes already uploaded to both YouTube and Spotify. So yeah, share this all over. You'll see my podcast, social medias in the video, and my personal social medias will be in the description. This is episode 4. We will get better as time goes on. Y'all just gotta bear with me. I appreciate it, all the love and support. Let's keep going. Y'all continue to have a great Monday. Always remember to don't underestimate, appreciate, and without further ado, I'm gone.